I thought about Buffy as a role model from the very beginning.
The fact that she became an icon is because she was so real. That makes an icon, I guess.
She's above the playing field. She's the best that's out there.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a good thing, and it was a positive thing, and it helped people. I certainly grew to wish that I was a little bit more like her. So to me, that's a role model.
I think in the case of Buffy, what made her an outstanding role model was that she was a woman who could be assertive, a woman who could take control, and a woman who could kick ass.
She was created because I got tired of watching women be victims in horror movies.
That was then. This is now.
I had a feeling of something that was missing in me and in my life. I needed a role model.
What makes heroes? I think one of the great things about Buffy is people had to keep asking themselves that question over and over and over again, especially in opposition to a real superhero.
Buffy's not a superhero, you know, she's just a hero. She's not super. She doesn't come from another planet. It's not just a given that she's gonna make the right decision. Buffy just wants to be happy. She's a hero because she sacrifices that for others, and that's heroic. And that's something you can hopefully learn something from.
Buffy's superpower was a lovely metaphor, I think, for the strength that we all have. We may not all be able to run out and slay vampires, but we deal with our own demons. And watching this young woman who sort of unexpectedly stood up and said, I'm not going to be pushed aside. I'm not going to be the typical ditzy cheerleader. I'm going to take matters into my own hands and be strong. Even if we don't have superpowers, who can't relate to what that means in our own lives?
It's my first day. I was afraid that I was going to be behind in all my classes, that I wouldn't make any friends, that I would have last month's hair. I didn't think there'd be vampires on campus, and I don't care.
And why are you here?
What you think you're supposed to be and what you are often two very different things, and Buffy exemplifies that.
You really have no idea what's going on, do you? You think it's coincidence you're being here? That boy was just the beginning.
Oh, why can't you people just leave me alone?
Because you are the Slayer.
In the beginning, she's resisting her role. She, just wants to be a normal high school student. And who in high school doesn't want to just fit in, right? That's your goal in high school. That's, why having high school be hellish is, such a apt analogy for the series. But Buffy grows into leadership.
That's better.
You're not here to fight. You get Giles out and you run like hell, understood? I can't protect you. You'd be too busy killing.
Now that's a new look for you.
If she had started out kick-ass, tough, and determined, and already the leader of the show, I think it would have been a less interesting series.
What's great is that as she became more comfortable with her role, she did begin to realize the value of what she could bring to the world. The fact that Buffy, a teenager, saw that bigger worldview and learned to give of herself. I think that's great.
Oh, Summers, you are turning me on.
Buffy's a role model for young men, too.
That works, too.
She's this little tiny thing, and she is amazing and powerful and strong and smart, and it changes perceptions. She could be pretty and wear high heels, and there's a great moment, I think a script that Doug did, where she rips her skirt open so that she can kick.
May I?
It wasn't a statement about, don't wear pencil skirts. It was about, I'm a girl and I kick ass, I
mean, you can look at a character like Lieutenant Uhura, who's a role model just by existing. Go, oh, black woman professional. That meant something to a lot of people growing up. But Buffy has to be a role model through personal actions. It can't just be empowered young woman. That's not enough anymore. We've had enough empowered young women on TV now that in order for someone to genuinely be a role model, they have to do something beyond that. And what Buffy did so well was make mistakes and pick herself up.
You have had so too much drink. At this point, I am cutting you off.
Inevitably, Buffy's going to do things that are terrible sometimes. Our ability to redeem ourselves from it or overcome it and move beyond it is what makes us strong.
Buffy's an inspiring role model because she's not perfect. There's a thing in TV, you never let your character do a bad thing or people won't like her. And we let her do some bad things.
Oh, Buffy does all sorts of horrible things. She shuts out her friends. She shuts out Dawn.
We let her sleep with her boyfriend or two, maybe when she shouldn't have. We let her run away, try to start life in a new city.
That's at the core of how one should write a character like that. You don't just write them all perfect, because that's not going to be interesting. Nobody's going to want to model themselves after Miss Perfect. Nobody's going to identify with them.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, sure it does. See? Oh, no, this doesn't make any sense.
It's senseless.
Intelligence is something women really struggle with. We know from studies that by junior high, girls have learned to play down their intelligence. So I think it was probably fairly realistic to have Buffy not be totally focused on an academic world. And what balanced that so nicely was having Willow.
It's not that big a deal. It's just a bunch of people getting together.
It's a very big deal.
It's not.
Buffy and Willow together open up a range of ways that girls might identify that's much stronger than any one character alone. And Willow also sort of changes and grows over the series. And, you know, like many smart, kind of nerdy girls, Willow blossoms in college.
Evil Willow wasn't a good role model, but what was great about Willow was this sort of slightly nerdy girl, and it was cool.
Another subset to that is the relationship that Xander had to each of those women. He was happy to be around strong women. He appreciated what they brought to the party. And I think that's such a great story to tell. That relationship is not often seen on TV, or frankly in any medium.
Giles and Xander are confronted by this girl who's so much stronger than they are. And they don't for a second think about resenting it. They rally behind her. Well, then she shall be the leader. That's a wonderful aspect of the show.
The series presented a kind of ideal world where men accepted women as their equals, except for when they were trying to make them into robots.
Oh, I'm sorry, because you're about... Wow. Slayer's a robot. Did everybody else know the Slayer was a robot?
And I've heard Joss say that one of the main reasons he created the show was to show a young woman with power not being resented. To show the men around her accepting her for who she is and accepting her as their leader. Buffy was completely on her own. There was no previous Slayer to sit down with her and go, here are the rules, here are the challenges you're gonna face. I think like a lot of young women in the world, Buffy had to find her own way. Every lesson was a first for her. There was no one there to say, oh yeah, that happened to me.
It was a great episode where Angel had turned evil and was out to kill Buffy and literally is coming at her with a sword. And she has no friends, she's not doing well in school, she's not doing well at home, all of her life is falling around. He's coming at her with this sword and he's saying,
that's everything, huh? No weapons, no friends, no hope. Take all that away, and what's left?
Me.
To me, that is a great core of the show. That's what's brilliant about Joss Whedon and the character he created. And to me, that's universal and applies to everybody. And you know, when you're down like that, you either find me or you die.
I'm definitely nothing special. No, you are.
The stories were incredibly powerful. The most powerful ones were about young girls who came out because of the show.
I didn't do it because it would be the right thing to do or that would be a role model. I did it because it seemed like an interesting character thing for her. It seemed like she had great chemistry with Amber, and it became incredibly meaningful for people. And then I think I realized even more fully than I had exactly how much all of these characters were drawing something out of people that they needed.
When you get a letter, or 10 letters, or 100 letters from young girls and young boys, and they didn't kill themselves because of a frickin' TV show, you know? I mean, come on. It's a TV show, and yet it's so much more than a TV show. It's like, this is real life. I mean, it's amazing. Blows your mind.
Hi, honey. I'm home.
The idea that this character would be a role model was absolutely part of the mandate, but I don't think I really understood what that was going to mean to people.
You know what? It's good to be me.
Hopefully what a show like Buffy can do as far as that issue of Buffy being a feminist icon is take it to a level where it's not about feminism anymore, where she is a humanist icon, where This is the norm of women. I think there couldn't have been a better role model than Buffy.
She is a combination of, extraordinary hero and very relatable girl. She survived all the travails of young adulthood, and that is why 7 seasons was just perfect, because it was right through adolescence to the threshold of adulthood, and she survived.